Now, from CBS News Miami, this is Facing South Florida with Jim DeFede.
Welcome back to this special live edition of Facing South Florida. This morning, we're going to examine not only the races on the ballot Tuesday, but we'll also look ahead to November. Now, today is the last day for early voting before Tuesday's primary, so let's check in again with CBS News Miami, Steve Majiri, who is at an early voting site at the Miami-Dade election headquarters in Doral. Steve, not sure if things are starting to pick up there, but I also understand you've been looking at voter registration numbers across the state, and they really do favor Republicans these days, don't they?
That's right. If you look at the statewide total for registered voters, Republicans have a comfortable lead over Democrats and unaffiliated voters. But we did see that there are a lot of unaffiliated voters in this election, and that could really be the movable middle that candidates try to win over in the general election. And South Florida is a great way to take the pulse of the people. So we're going to take a look at the numbers here. Let's start out in Broward County. Registered Democrats outnumber both Republicans and unaffiliated voters by more than 200,000 each. What stands out is that there are more unaffiliated voters than Republicans. And now to Miami-Dade County, the number of Republicans, Democrats, or unaffiliated voters are very close, but there are still more Democrats that are registered. And now finally, for the entire state of Florida, there are almost 1 million more registered Republicans than Democrats and almost 2 million more than unaffiliated. So again, a lot of unaffiliated voters here in Florida. Of course, they can't vote in the primary because it's a closed primary state, but in the general election, voters really could look to win them over. And as far as voting today, it's important to know it varies depending on what county you're in. Miami-Dade County, they've just opened up. They're going from 8 to 4, and in Broward, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Jim?
All right, thank you, Steve. All right, so let's bring in our guest again, State Representative Alex Rizo, chair of the Miami-Dade Republican Party. Earlier we had State Senator Chevron Jones, the Democratic Party chair, but he's lost in transit. He is somewhere on his way to Chicago for the DNC. We had him in the first half hour. We had to send him to the airport for this one, so it'll just be you and I. I want to start with those voter registration numbers, and one of the things I think is interesting, you know, when I started looking at it, so Republicans have about a 1 million voter advantage in registrations. With Democrats at about 4.3 million registered voters. In 2020, they had about 5.2 million registered voters. So they didn't all switch to Republicans. They did get purged. They did get taken off the rolls. State Senator Jones in the last half hour made some comments that basically thinking that this was part of the plan that Republicans had to clean out Democratic voters off the rolls. Again, I want to give you a chance to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Statements like that are patently false. People that were taken off of the rolls, they were nonpartisan affiliation. They were Republicans, Democrats. Again, it was all about election integrity and making sure that we have, for example, absentee ballots. Absentee ballots are requested now every year so that we make sure that people that have moved can get their absentee ballot where they go.
But why is that a good idea? If I'm used to getting an absentee ballot sent to my home because you know, most people don't move every year, but a lot of people just sort of stay and they sign up and they expect the absentee ballot to come in. By having to request it every year, you're making it, you're putting a burden on people to do that. Why not make it, shouldn't we be making it easier to vote? Honestly, but shouldn't we be making it easier to vote, not harder to vote?
Well, I think that it is easy. There's mechanisms in place. You can go online and request it. Number one, you can call, you can talk to someone, you can sign up for it. It's very, very easy. Anyone can fill it out and send it in. Again, election integrity. When you have ballots that are floating around to addresses that no longer pertain to people that live there anymore, you've got irregularities to start to happen.
Well, so tell me about all those irregularities. You had how many criminal cases came about as a result of these ballots flying all over the air? Were there thousands of cases, thousands of people sent to prison for that? I mean, I'm trying to understand. This seemed like a fix in search of a problem that didn't really have. There wasn't really a problem with the voting system in Miami-Dade. The governor said it was the safest system we ever had.
It is, and now we've made it even safer. So again, people could say that we took certain people, certain parties off of the rolls. That's absolutely false. It's not false. Okay.
All right. I want to look at
it is false. Excuse me.
On the good side for you, the latest fundraising numbers came in for the Republican Party of Florida. Raised in the last quarter $15.6 million compared to $2.4 million, $2.3 million for Democrats. money is often a sign of party strength. We saw it with all the stories about fundraising for Kamala Harris and how much money she raised. So do you see that as a sign of the strength of the Republican Party? How
Absolutely.
Much, with the donations? Talk about why you think Republicans are so outpacing Democrats in terms of fundraising.
Well, it's number one, it's policies that have a good economy, a good state of Florida, a state where you want to go ahead and raise your children. Education, which is something that I'm very familiar with and I do a lot of in Tallahassee, is one of the top issues when it comes to what are we going to do with our future. We need this basis. We need a great economy. We've done, I think, remarkable things. The Republic under Governor DeSantis, under a Republican legislature, we've done wonderful things for the economy, for the elderly, for education, and I think we're going to continue to do that. And people see that and want to continue with that.
One of the stories that I did not too long ago was about how after the governor vetoed the hemp regulation bill to basically allow the hemp industry to remain active in Florida, that they pledged to be raising upwards of $5 million for the Republican Party. I haven't gone through the list here, but my guess is there's probably a few $1,000,000 from the hemp folks in here. How did you vote on that hemp bill, by the way? You voted for it, right?
I can't. I think
the regulation.
I definitely voted for the regulation.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
then the governor vetoed it.
Yeah.
Were you happy with the veto?
No, I disagree with it. I mean, I voted the way I think it should go. And then we'll see. We'll leave it up to people and see where that goes.
It didn't hurt the Republican Party coffers. They got a few million as a result of the veto.
Possibly. Who knows?
So let's talk about the amendments coming up in November. I'm assuming, and I don't want to assume, are you opposed to both the marijuana and the abortion amendments?
Yes.
Okay. Talk to me about why you think a 6-week abortion ban is better to keep in place than going back to Roe for voters here in South Florida.
Well, I mean, I'm Catholic. The majority of South Floridians are Catholic. Look, I think that abortion is just used way too much. This is something, again, that should be between a doctor, a family, but really starting with a family. Well, the legislature is just saying, look, we think that this is just too rampant. It's used. The left is using this. They're saying that they can have abortions on site in Chicago now during the DNC. Vasectomies and abortions. I think that this is something best left to people and really take a step back and say, look, this is not something that should be like the first option in anything. Again, life is sacred. Life is something that is very special. And again, I think that most people believe that.
I think most people who support abortion rights believe that as well, and would say that this should be an option for them. And 6 weeks, a lot of women don't even know. I mean, I always like when two men sit around talking about menstrual cycles, but as you and I both know, or hopefully know, that a lot of women won't even know they're pregnant at 6 weeks.
Well, again, this is going to be left up to the people now.
Marijuana. What's your big concern there? The governor seems to make it seem as if we'll have San Francisco all over again, and you'll be walking through hazes of smoke. But the legislature could pass a bill that bans public smoking, right?
Yes, we absolutely could.
So tell me about your thoughts on the marijuana bill.
Again, recreational marijuana, I think I'm totally against. But again, we're going to see where people fall on this issue. Again, right now in South Florida, you go around and you can smell it all over the place. Again, I think it's a little overused, quite frankly. And again, recreational, I am totally against. We'll see where people fall on that.
Does Donald Trump win Dade County?
Yes.
Really? I mean, I know you sort of have to say that, but you believe that? And by how much? What do you think?
I believe that. How much? I don't know. A win is a win. Let's see. Obviously, there's more registered Democrats than Republicans in Dade County. However, the most important, and you alluded to this before, that MPA number, that's almost 500,000 people. Now, I have all of us in our state representative districts, we have NPAs. Some of them are the largest segment, some of them are the middle segment, some of them are the smallest segment, but they're very important. And so they could be the swing in this. I would say look at Doral. Look at where we're sitting right now. Doral 2 years ago in 2022, 24% of the electorate is Republican in Miami, in Doral. The largest segment of the voting bloc is NPAs, and Doral went Republican that year. So again, I say that this is the canary in the coal mine, and it's only gotten more Republican. By the way, those numbers right there, every single state House seat in Dade County went more Republican this last month during the final closeout.
I got time for just a yes or no. Does the legislature say supermajority? Or
Yes.
does it just come under supermajority?
No.
We stay. All right. There you go. We'll have you back after to see how your predictions are. All right. Thank you very much for coming in. When we come back, we'll be joined by two of my colleagues from good political reporters, David Smiley from the Miami Herald and Steve Busquet from the Sun Sentinel. Stay with us.